Hi everyone, I'm Katie Masters. Welcome to this edition of WDay Chats, Buzzwords in Tech. So this is part two of our two-part series. Earlier today we hosted part one, all around the buzzword digital transformation. Now we've got three more buzzwords to share with you today and three guests, so it'll be a rotating desk. We are going to start with employee experience, roll into machine learning, and then head right into blockchain. So get ready for a great episode. If you have any questions along the way or comments, feel free to add them in the comments below in LinkedIn Live, or also follow along with us on Twitter using hashtag WDayChats. So with that, let's get started into some buzzwords. So I'd like to welcome my first guest, Liz Jennings. Welcome, Liz.
Hi there. Hi, Liz Jennings. I'm part of the product marketing team here at Workday, and I'm here to talk about one of my most favorite topics, which is employee experience.
I love it. Well, I thought I might start off by bridging the conversations of buzzwords from digital transformation earlier today, now to employee experience. Really, my key takeaway from the conversation was, organizations transform, and really digital transformation is about meeting the expectations of customers. And with all of that ongoing innovation and iteration and being agile quickly, there's a lot of pressure on employees. So thus, here we are, spotlighting employee experience. And I thought that would be a good segue into asking you what your perspectives, Liz, are on how has digital transformation impacted the workplace?
That's a great question, and there's definitely been a very distinct kind of change that's really happened, and I think what's happening is we're seeing a tremendous amount of kind of blending happening, right? The work life and the personal life. Yeah. You and I are both working moms. We totally get that sense of where we're always on, right?
Yep.
And I think that our employees have that same sense. And as we think about the demands to be more agile, it's all about how do we enable our people to be more on. And if you think about it, it's all about this concept of productivity. How do we enable productivity? So not necessarily that they always have to be on, but when the moments where they need to be on, they're productive and able to get their jobs done.
Yeah, it's that efficiency for sure. Multitasking like crazy these days in this world.
Absolutely.
So what are you seeing as far as the trends, as far as the employee experience goes?
Yeah, that's another great question. One of the ones we're seeing is, obviously number one, the desire to be productive. We're seeing this, need to simplify, make things easy. I think all of us in our personal lives have come to love our applications that just make things so simple, right?
Yeah.
I can ask my Alexa to order things. I can Venmo a friend at dinner. I can do all these things really quickly and easily. And so for the employee experience on a technology perspective, that 100% becomes very crucial to creating this sense of, employee investment and that better experience. But then also, how do you invest in the culture and, the physical surroundings, all of these various places with which you can really start to make a big impact on that employee experience.
That blurred line of maximizing time at home and then maximizing time and being used to, so there's less transition between work life, home life. Love that. So as a result of all of these productivity tools and being efficient, how is that impacting, or what are the challenges that organizations are faced with this new employee experience?
Well, as we know, it's no longer kind of a suggestion, it's an expectation, right? We all have our expectations of this is what we expect it to be like. So for organizations, obviously tying into this morning, this concept of digital transformation, we're going to, really embark on a journey to make our digital experience for the whole organization better. And what we've found is that organizations, while they were trying to kind of consolidate, right, simplify fewer systems, they were also at the same time looking for the best, right, and more engagement. And so sometimes organizations will buy a lot more systems thinking, hey, if I get more systems, that's going to increase engagement, which doesn't always happen, doesn't always pay out. And then, of course, they're always thinking about that employee experience. What we're seeing is, unfortunately, that employee experience is more or less fallen off, right? I mean, we've given almost people too many options at the salad bar. And so therefore, more is not more. No, it is not. So we're seeing that kind of a interesting challenge, right? What is striking that balance, right, between having the right amount of systems, but also the right types of systems and the way that they can really help people instead of hinder them.
Yeah. And then now add in the Gen Zers entering the workforce too. So that adds another layer. So how are organizations navigating the multi-generational workforce?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Here at Workday, we had our first Gen Z, I believe, start the organization last year.
Okay.
And, I was talking to one of our head of talent and development here at Workday, and I asked him, what do you think about this? He says, well, that's just really fascinating, right? We have 5 generations in our organization.
Wow.
How do you meet the needs of 5 generations? pretty intense.
Yeah.
So, but he also said, we have to really, step back and think, okay, this new generation is going to bring us some new insights and ways of thinking we've never thought about. And
Sure.
Actually, we have a customer up in Canada. It's a professional services organization. And they were kind of going through the same, angst. Okay, what does this new generation mean to our workforce? And they decided to actually be proactive. And they surveyed their youngest members of the organization and really found out what was it that made them tick and really understood kind of how were they wanting to be interacted with.
Yeah.
And they found that the information they gathered there, they did the same survey to the entire organization to try to get a differentiating opinion, but it was actually the same. So I think the Gen Z is really going to help us kind of push the envelope a little bit, help us, think about things in a different way, challenge us, get us to stretch.
Yeah.
And then I think ultimately they're going to be a big piece of how we're going to, push forward in digital transformation and think about employee experience because they're really kind of setting that trend.
Yeah, for sure. Well, then let's break down what engagement is versus experience.
Yes.
For our audience.
Sounds great. Yeah. So I like to give these very distinct labels, right? Okay. So we've got engagement. Engagement is something you measure, right?
Okay.
You're either engaged or you're not engaged. Experience, however, is something you deliver. And we're finding that organizations that really focus on the employee experience from many angles tend to have better engagement statistics, right? So they are seeing better engagement. And it's actually leading to higher profitability, lower attrition rates. So putting that effort into your employee experience is paying back, in multitude different ways.
What does engagement mean for employees, though?
And that's a good, and it's kind of different. It's not one size fits all.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of organizations will come to organizations like Workday and ask us, so what is it you do? How do you understand? And what's the prescription, right? That everybody should just go and take. It's not like getting the flu, so you go and take some Tamiflu. It's, you really have to kind of break it down and look at the makeup of your organization.
Mm-hmm.
What are they looking for, right? They've joined your organization. What brought them there to begin with? And how do you kind of recreate that magic, so to speak? And how do you really break down what it means to have that good employee experience and continue it? So I like to say there's not one answer.
Yeah.
But I do recommend, there's a lot of great ways to get the information. You can look externally. Places like Glassdoor are great.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good third-party, get information from there. But also looking internally, surveying your people, right? Getting really close, getting into
happy hour.
Totally. Oh my God, of course. But yeah, really get to know your people and understand how and what makes them tick so you can start to kind of build that experience that they're looking for.
And then if we look at creating experience, are there any recommendations for organizations on how they can create that?
Yeah,
so that it's natural.
Well, yeah. So how do you make natural? Well, I think again, looking at your people, but there's 3 distinct areas. I brought it up a little earlier, but it's all of the one that I find are, according to a really great book I read, The Employee Experience Matters by Jacob Morgan, which he really says it's three levers, right? Technology, which I think obviously we're all very excited about here.
Sure.
But also the physical surroundings, how the people around you are kind of supported. And then lastly, it's the culture. And I think that's a big one. How do you understand what you want your company culture to be and let your people as well kind of guide that vision? So I think within those 3, that's kind of like, to me, the secret sauce that kind of, if organizations kind of follow those 3 and really kind of find the true north, they're going to be on a good spot.
So then what are the outcomes? What are the benefits for an organization that have built this experience for their employees? Or really focused on their employee experience, rather?
Yeah, it's going to depend by the organization what they get back from it. But I think a lot of the times you're going to see, that productivity goes up, right? Culture sentiment goes up. When people like where they work and they enjoy where they are, they want to work harder. They want to give more to the organization. But they also are going to find themselves wanting to be better for their customers, right? So I think that's where the profitability comes in.
Yeah.
If you really truly believe that what you're doing is making a difference and you're making an impact and you're positive, that radiates.
Yeah.
So it has a trickle down effect, kind of everywhere. It
Innovation
spills over
will
everywhere.
Naturally happen. Yeah, for sure. So, as a segue into our next topic, of course, I want to know employee experience and machine learning. Can you touch on how machine learning will impact or can impact an employee experience?
Absolutely. Well, that's really good. It's interesting. I think that definitely falls into that technology bucket, right? And what we're seeing is it's really hard to create a perfect experience for employees, right? When we think about the systems and tools that are out there, they're not really entirely built to have machine learning really truly infused. And when we think about the different applications that we use in our personal lives, they are chock full of machine learning, right? I want to believe that Netflix and Amazon know me, right? I mean, they literally
They do.
They right? We believe it. They know us. They've been listening. Maybe too much. No, I'm just kidding. But they do. They understand us, and they're recommending things for us, and they're giving us suggestions, and it feels very, very genuine. It feels very natural.
Yes.
And so that is really where at Workday, we're really thinking about how do we infuse machine learning to the experience itself?
Yeah.
How do we start to say, okay, in the technology, is there a way that you can take the machine learning and have it curate, experiences that are different, that are new, that are unique, and giving that really delightful way of thinking. So it's definitely kind of where we're thinking, but I think any application out there, Workday or not, if you're thinking about an experience, you definitely want to be thinking about how machine learning can play a piece there.
I love it. I'm excited because anything to make my life smoother, my work life smoother, faster, more productive, check it off. Let's do this.
Agreed.
So with that, Liz, I want to thank you so much for joining me. But this isn't the last you've heard of Liz. Liz is joining us at Workday Rising coming up. So we've got a great lineup of sessions. If you're joining us, fantastic. If not, check out the live stream. Went live today. Can definitely check out all the different sessions that we'll live stream, and we'll have some great WDA chats as well.
Awesome.
So thanks so much for coming,
Thank
and
you.
we'll invite my next guest, Kelly Emo, on down, and we'll talk about machine learning. Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
Hi.
My pleasure.
Welcome. So, of course, we're going to go through our buzzword machine learning. And since you are the expert, you are going to educate me on all things machine learning. But I'd love for you to introduce yourself.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Kelly Emo, and I head up our technology product marketing here at Workday.
Fabulous. So let's dig into the basics. So first off, I use them interchangeably, but I would love for you to tell me that I'm incorrect on the difference between AI and ML.
Yeah, that's a great question. And
That's a
I know
great place to start.
the terms are used all over the place
Okay, good.
in the media and everything you read. And just to kind of make it really simple, AI has actually been around for quite some time, really got its start in the 40s. And it stands for artificial intelligence, and it really is a broad set of capabilities in computing where what happens is the computer can do things that normally a human would need to do. So it encompasses machine learning, but it also encompasses things like robotic process automation and other things that are more what you would think of with a robot, executing a task that was previously done by a human. Machine learning, however, what's unique about that is the word learning.
Okay.
In machine learning, the system is able to use data, input data and learning data, to learn from the outcomes and continuously get smarter or get better as it progresses.
Love that. Yeah. So I'm going to say this humorously. Someday when robots take over the world, will they be powered by machine learning?
Those are smart robots. And they're going to be hungry. They're going to want to eat lots of learning data.
I love that. So, okay, so more serious. Do you have a favorite source of AI in our data-driven world?
Sure. I'm going to give you one funny example and then one that's really a good source for me. The funny one was at the CES show this year.
Okay.
They had AI-powered everything. And the one that caught my attention was the AI-powered toothbrush. It was all about getting better dental hygiene through intelligence in your toothbrush. Now, I think it's interesting, a little irrelevant.
I mean, really healthy
kind of
teeth
strange.
out there, gotta say.
Exactly. But no, my favorite one is actually, I have a fairly lengthy commute, and I live by Waze. Waze knows me, it knows the routes I want to take, and it warns me when traffic is doing, what it does, and will guide me to the better routes. But when you first start using Waze, it will tend to optimize to the shortest, but that shortest may not be the most convenient. And so if it's giving you a route and you're constantly taking a different route, it's going to learn and it's going to adjust. And then it's going to start giving you the routes you want to take, even if they aren't exactly the shortest. So that's kind of the learning in action. It really makes my commute a breeze.
I love that. I never thought about Waze like that. It also calls out, you don't have to be a data scientist to be experiencing machine learning on a daily basis. Love that even more. All right. So let's talk about the top challenges of machine learning. If you can weigh in on that for me.
Sure. Yeah. I think the biggest challenges for machine learning are finding a way to apply it that's actually going to have an outcome that's going to give real value for people and have enough data so that it really does start to learn.
Yeah.
So part of the magic of machine learning is making sure that you're giving it a constant stream of data it can learn from and then continuously get better. So those are probably the two big ones.
Okay. But what about talent? So is machine learning being used in the talent space, and are there new roles expanding in organizations based on this need for machine learning?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a number of places where machine learning is having a real impact on talent. First of all, in terms of understanding what your talent needs are. We're seeing the application of machine learning in assessing what are your potential needs, and then what talent do you currently have and where you might be having gaps. So it can actually look at things like what job openings do you have and what skills are associated with that job opening, and then look at the makeup across your teams and the skills for the people on those teams and say, you have strong skills here, but you're going to need some more data scientists in the future.
Yeah.
Then it can actually help in the recruiting process identify and match candidates, and then have the right candidates rise to the top to make the job of the recruiter that more efficient, that easier, more effective.
Again, the productivity, the ease. I love that.
The other
from
thing
the employee experience. Yep.
The other thing I like about machine learning and talent is it also can guide the individual of what are some new skills that they should be building that will be usable on their career journey as well, and then help guide them to learning resources.
Can help an organization with upskilling and reskilling then as well.
Absolutely.
That's fabulous. So what about the machine learning application in the finance world? So what are some of your perspectives there?
So in finance, it's really about extracting time out of the equation and making the financial professional more efficient so they have more time to be strategic. So one of the big challenges in finance are anomalies. There's a lot of data, and there's a lot of data that gets keyed in by different processes. And it's easy for something to maybe get associated with the wrong cost center or the wrong transaction code. And so if machine learning can find those anomalies and surface them, you're going to keep a lot of finance folks being able to go home at night at the end of the quarter instead of having to wade through thousands of spreadsheets. So it's really extracting that time out of the equation.
Sounds like a lot more room for being strategic and making more strategic decisions faster as well, being more agile as an organization. So as a buzzword, machine learning, why does it even matter? Why is everyone talking about it?
So machine learning is really about making the value of human judgment even greater. So if you think about applying machine learning to the things we do every day, it's going to help you make the right choices that will enable you to do something faster, get a better outcome. It's basically increasing the value of the human judgment. And that's why it's so powerful across so many different applications.
So let's address then what some may think that comes along with machine learning are the negative impact on jobs, potentially. Again, the robots bit.
Yeah, the Skynet.
Yes.
Robots taking over the world.
It might happen. So what are your perspectives there?
Well, I think machine learning is a real opportunity for the workplace today. I think people need to be aware of it, and they need to be watching how machine learning is evolving in different roles, and then what opportunities open people up for reskilling and upskilling. Because a lot of things that are very repetitive, can be automated. And so people that are doing those roles, they may find automation coming in, but they have opportunities then to apply their judgment to actually do those more strategic tasks. So it really should increase overall employee satisfaction and open up a lot more roles for planning, for strategy, for thinking about the bigger picture and the things that only humans can do.
Great. Love that. Whew. No robot takeover for now. But can I boil machine learning down to data? Just lots and lots of data.
That's part of it. I would say when you think about data in machine learning, it's absolutely required. You need to have a good set and a ready set of data to be able to enable the machine learning to progress and learn. But you also need to have the right data. So it's really important that the data set is quality, is available, and gives that continuous feedback loop as your machine learning is being applied in the different applications that you're using it in.
Okay. Yeah. So if we're looking at a world that's so data-driven, more and more data, and also the emphasis on data privacy. How do you maintain trust and privacy in a world that just is all about data? There's data everywhere.
Yeah, that's such an important topic. Absolutely. And our strategy at Workday is we start by being transparent with how we're going to use data in machine learning. And we give all of our customers that want to apply machine learning into Workday, it starts with their express agreement. They allow us to, or they opt in to providing us their data. So that's the first thing, is to be absolutely transparent and let people know when you're going to use that data. So we call it an innovation services agreement that all our customers opt into. And then as we're developing machine learning, we're constantly testing the machine learning algorithms and outcomes to ensure that what is resulting from the machine learning is delivering something that's of business value, but also not overstepping any privacy constraints.
Great. Okay, so as we lead into our next buzzword, what would you like our audience to know, and leave them with one thing to know about machine learning?
Yeah, so I would say, first of all, don't be afraid of machine learning. Okay. It's actually going to open up great opportunities for you.
Okay.
But it's also challenging to find the right application of machine learning. So you really want to work with machine learning applied in your application. So as you're looking at the solutions that you're bringing in-house to do your digital transformation, you want to be saying, are they applying machine learning? And what are those outcomes? So look for the application of machine learning rather than what I like to call a box of tools. Because it's really hard to take a box of tools and get it to actually deliver something for you. So you want to really think about applied machine learning in the applications that you're looking at.
Fabulous. Yeah. Thank you so much. It was so nice to have you join us for machine learning. So as similar with Liz, Kelly will also be joining me at Workday Rising. Lots of great sessions ahead. Definitely recommend checking out hashtag WDay Chats all throughout the week. We're going live on LinkedIn, as well as you can catch our keynotes on live stream. So my next guest has arrived. Hi, Bjorn. Nice to meet you.
Likewise.
This is Bjorn Hamill, and Bjorn will be joining me. We're going to talk about blockchain. I can't wait for this one. So we are rounding out our session today. Bjorn, do you want to introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. My name is Bjorn Hamill, and I'm the Chief Security Architect at Workday. And I've been playing with blockchain technology since late 2016.
All right. So for my benefit, and possibly a few out there that are following along, I consider blockchain to be equivalent to cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. And that's what I think about when I think about blockchain. So that's why you're here, to educate me and our audience. Could you give us a breakdown? What is blockchain?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot more to blockchain than just cryptocurrency.
Okay.
In fact, blockchain really refers to a whole set of systems that provide new, more trusted ways to do secure computing. And so it's these new types of algorithms that allow you to track data for your blockchain-based system.
Okay.
And in fact, a lot of blockchains don't even have blocks or chains. They're just this class of trusted computing platforms.
So I had to write this one down. Blocks being the digital information and chains being the public database. Yes.
Yeah. So really, like, the core idea behind blockchain is that you're getting a number of computers to all agree about the state of the world. Okay. So like if we were doing an accounting application and I wanted to keep track of your account balance, I would have a copy of it on every single computer. And if I wanted to take some money away from that account, every computer would have to agree at the same time. Okay. And this core idea is called consensus. And that's really the cornerstone of how blockchain technology works. And there's a number of different ways in which you actually implement consensus.
Oh, interesting.
The other major point is the notion of whether or not it's a public blockchain network or a private one. So you may have heard of things like Bitcoin or Ethereum. Those are public networks that anyone can actually go join and start to compute with. But the private networks allow you to have some control over who joins and what they can do in your network.
Awesome. So I'm big on stats. In a recent survey conducted by Deloitte, they found that 53% of respondents say that blockchain technology has become a critical priority for organizations in 2019, which is up 10-point increase over last year. So my question to you is, so there's a lot of hype around blockchain. Why is everyone talking about blockchain? Why now?
Sure. So in my opinion, it's really around the craze of cryptocurrency inflation.
Yeah.
Right? So from 2010 to 2017, we saw Bitcoin price rise from $1 to $20,000 per coin. And that right there is going to garner a lot of excitement and attention.
That's some buzz for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's a number of people that just jumped on that. But stemming out of that, we saw a lot of good, meaningful research and a whole sort of second wave of systems and ideas that matured from that sort of pure hype and excitement around a speculative investment.
So what is blockchain's role in digital disruption or digital transformation?
Yeah, I think the cornerstone of its potential for transformation is really in intermediation. And what I mean by that is a lot of transactions today have a third party that allows two parties to do business together. So you can think of like the mortgage process. You have an escrow company that is the trusted party between the buyer and the seller. With blockchain, you can have implicit trust between the two parties. They can see what's going to happen in the exchange and actually remove the need for that third party. So that's a way that we could do sort of more streamlined, quicker business transactions.
So blockchain is going to change the way we share and use data, just in general.
Absolutely.
And another stat from Gartner, I did some research ahead of this to sound just as smart as you are, and the Gartner forecasted that the business value from blockchain will reach $360 billion by 2026. So I'm paying attention for sure.
A lot of cost savings and efficiency.
So why are organizations, other than the stat I just read you, why are organizations leveraging blockchain? So what are some good use cases for blockchain that you're seeing out there?
Yeah, absolutely. So two main ones that jump to mind are in the banking use cases, where again, in existing models, you have to have clearinghouses and sort of certain regulations and systems that your transaction goes through. With blockchain, you can have the immediate transaction of funds in these sort of highly regulated cross-border situations. So there's actually this network called R3, in which a number of banking institutions have all joined together to do basically quicker, cheaper banking. The other big one that comes to mind is the Maersk shipping consortium. So they're actually recording over 1 million transactions a day on the ledger. So all those container ships going around are actually recording all the manifests as goods move across the world.
I'm never going to look at that in the same way. I'm going to think blockchain now as I drive over a bridge and see the Maersk ships.
Absolutely. And these are replacing paper systems from 20 years ago. So it's really taking us into the modern era.
Do you have a favorite use case for blockchain?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing that's most exciting to me, sorry, gonna geek out, is digital credentialing. And what I mean by that is, like in 2019, I still carry a plastic driver's license in my wallet. I have a physical passport. Like these seem like things that could be digitally transformed into credentials that I could have on my phone and automatically transact with. And so I'm super excited about the potential for digitization of credentials through blockchain technology.
Very cool. Again, I was doing some research because I wanted to find out what other use cases there are. What interested me is one of the world's most famous diamond companies is leveraging blockchain to track information and sale of diamonds. So, you know, diamonds are a girl's best friend. So I had to know that use case. But what about talent? So we've asked this in the other two buzzwords as well. Does blockchain technology change the talent that's needed within an organization with the rise of a new opportunity?
Right. It's a great question. I really think it depends. But if you're an organization today that's doing custom development or you're adding on to products you have, I think you actually have the skills you need to get started with blockchain. So when you first embark on a blockchain project, like you're not going to be inventing a new type of blockchain. You're really going to be taking that technology and putting it into practice. So things that people do already today, like call APIs or use software libraries, you can do those things in this new space. I would give the caveat that there's definitely some rough edges in this technology.
Okay.
So it's a little immature and you may have to sort of work around some sticking points or go engage with the community to get help if you do get stuck. And on the flip side, I would say if you're an organization that really doesn't do any development today, there's a number of platforms out there that wrap blockchain technology. So you may be able to do low code sort of configuration based blockchain development with a blockchain backed platform.
Cool. Very cool. So we've got new blockchain in our organizations. Back to trust.
Yeah.
Should we trust blockchain? Is it secure? If you can talk a little bit about that for us and how data privacy and other things might be trending in this topic as well.
Absolutely. So, as someone who's been doing security work for the last 15 years, there's no way I could say any system is perfectly secure. But what I will say...
That's very safe.
is that like the inherent design of blockchain is around how do we protect data and make it so that it's hard to modify. And because there's such an emphasis around having these multiple copies of the data and all the systems needing to agree, that if such a system were attacked, the attacker would have to go to great lengths to change the data all over the place. And so that's going to look like a high investment for them versus going after a traditional system where they only have to modify the data one place. And so like that one quality makes me much more confident if I were to use a blockchain-backed system to store my data.
So somewhat hacker-proof.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
I like it. And how can organizations start working with blockchain? So they've got some employees ready to go, or they're using the blockchain technology already that's already out there,
Yep.
not reinventing it for themselves.
Yeah. So there's
Where do
lots.
they start?
There's
Yeah.
lots of ways to get started. So you can go out and you can actually download a number of open source blockchain projects. In fact, I have Ethereum and Hyperledger Fabric running on my laptop here. So any developer can get started with sort of a hello blockchain example. And then a number of cloud providers have blockchain as a service. So whether it's AWS or Microsoft or IBM, you can go get started with one of their provided solutions and start building out your project.
Awesome.
So there's actually a wealth of resources to just get going and see what the technology is like for yourself.
Great. So as our last question to round out our discussion today on buzzwords, what do you want our viewers to know about blockchain? What's your one last statement about blockchain?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that it's real and it works. So, there's a lot of hype and buzz, but there's real systems being delivered on it, and there's real systems in production today, like powered by blockchain technology. So I definitely gotten to the maturity point where I think it's worth serious consideration and investment.
Very cool. Well, it's exciting to see what's to come. So thank you for joining me.
My pleasure.
And thank you to our audience for joining us for today's part 2 of our 2-part series, Buzzwords in Tech. Thanks for tuning in to #WDay Chats. There will be so much more as we lead into Workday Rising, and we look forward to having you join us along the way on LinkedIn Live, as well as our live stream on workday.com. All right, we'll see you next time.